Welcome to the High Voltage Light Electric Vehicle channel. This channel deals with all aspects of light electric vehicles, and in this video we're doing a follow-up and answering the question as to whether a budget e-bike like this is viable and if it's worth the money. If you enjoyed my video, please leave me a like, as it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, this is the HiBoy P6, a budget e-bike that I was sent to review last year. It's a fat tire e-bike with a 750 watt per motor. There were a few questions over the last few months as to how I was getting on with it, so this video is for you guys in particular. You can get one of these bikes for about 1,200 Canadian dollars, which is currently less than 1,000 US dollars. My wife has been the main rider of this bike so far, and it has about 1,000 kilometers on it. She mainly uses it for her commute to work, but it does that task without fail. She locks up the bike during the day, and it's a good bike for this task because it's not a high value item, so a decent lock like the one here acts as a sufficient deterrent, at least so far anyway. The bike is decently fast with about 45 kilometers an hour top speed. It will hold 20 to 30 kilometers an hour up steep hills, which is the important thing around here. It's not flash, but it's a fat tire e-bike that has decent power and carries a fair bit of cargo. There are only two concerns with this bike, one of which is easily fixable, and the other is kind of a minor niggle really. The most glaring issue with this bike is the brakes, and to say that they suck is understating it. They're borderline dangerous. These are the mechanical brakes. They're very cheap. They don't do a good job of stopping the bike, and they need constant tweaking. They're not up to the task of stopping what is going to be a pretty heavy bike without a rider reliably and effectively. So I just ripped them off and put on the cheapest set of quad piston brakes I found at $200. These are Tektros, and I think budget e-bike companies really just need to do a deal with a hydro disc maker, and then they can reduce the costs themselves and sell a much better bike and sell a much better e-bike. Even if it costs the consumer $100 more, it's worth it because it's very hard to adjust mechanical brakes and keep them adjusted. And it's very easy to make these bikes quite dangerous when it comes to being able to stop when needed. I think there ought to be a way to make this package a viable product with hydro brakes out of the box. If lawmakers really wanted to mandate something, how about standards for brakes? I would have thought being able to stop would be much more important safety-wise than limiting speed to, say, 32 kilometers an hour. In any case, the problem's solved. The Tektros are way better. My niggle is still with tuning on the pedal assist. The company was not either willing or able to supply a means for me to tweak this, which is a bit annoying because it takes far too long for the power to kick in. So I find myself starting off with the throttle quite a lot before transitioning to pedal. With the battery, I do have a little bit of long-term concerns in terms of whether it'll get supported or not. I do like the way the battery is integrated though. I think if the battery was to fail, it would also be pretty easy to adapt it to use a third-party pack or a DIY pack. So this budget e-bike, as long as you fix the brakes, I think is viable and rideable in the vast majority of conditions and environments. It's not amazing, but it's decently quick for its size and can genuinely do 25 to 30 kilometers, some pretty steep graded roads. Have a look at this one from Macfox though. It's a bit cheaper than the HiBoy, but not by much, maybe $200. It suffers from all the issues the HiBoy P6 has, but none of the good things. The steering really wants to pull left and right. You can't pedal it very well, and it's a bit slow. The motor is not a genuine fan. The seat, while comfortable, means you can't pedal it for very long because it gets uncomfortable on your legs. The brakes are the same cheap mechanical style that I originally had on the P6, except they took even more fussing about to get them right on this bike. I was going to use the frame to modify it, but when you look at the price you can pick up a fresh frame for in this style, there seems very little point in me taking it all apart. It would take quite a bit of money to make this bike anywhere near as usable as the P6. I wanted to show this other bike because while I think the P6 is a viable bike for the money, I don't think this Macfox is anywhere close. Out of the two, the HiBoy bike is the much better machine, and just by changing the brakes you have a decent bike. In terms of cheap bikes as a whole, you really need to do some reading and look at the specs of as many bikes as possible. Try and find real actual user reviews and not fake ones that you see online. The difference of $200 here resulted in two vastly different bikes. If you're a bike maker and you're watching this, please ditch the crappy brakes. At best it's dangerous, at worst it's deadly. cheap mechanical brakes have no place on any e-bike, in my opinion. Anyway, that's it for this week. If you want to get more content like this, then please subscribe or join the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.